Yeah, so just a update, long overdue update from the Tri-Cove City Trials. We've got a few projects going on there over the last few months in February, March. Had some slow progress. So as you can see, we're in the process here in early February, elevating the container off the ground, first stages. And then here in the back, on this particular day, I think it was February, it might have been January, was just local help. I was trying to install some of the plumbing from the rain collection with all my assortment of pipes. Basically, back in December after a big rain, I had basic, really basic rain collection going on, and the tank was full actually, the water tank, 300-liter water tank there, but it had burst, and when I was away and I came back and said, okay, I need to install a proper rain gutter. So I went and bought a rain gutter, and on that particular day I had some help, and so I let them get on with it. And here at the front you can see the pond and the moat that was expanded with local help. Of course, when I had originally dug it, it was only about 40 centimeters deep and about 50 centimeters wide, and I had them dig it out to be a meter deep and about 70-80 centimeters wide. And so I want to see over the dry season how long we can retain the water. And for February it looked okay there, but it's since the water level since gone down. Just now you saw a local ladyfinger banana variety plant there that I had picked up and planted in the ground. But yeah, I'm not too anxious about getting the fish going right this year, because I want to see actually 2-3 months of how the water level is affected when it's a meter deep. I believe 2 meters would be optimal if I want to not worry about it over the 2 or 3 month dry season. Yeah, so with the container, we are gradually lifting it up now. There's been some progress since. Oh, here's the actual rain gutter finish there, and you can see that it just basically plumbed into this 200-300 liter. It's just a make-to short-term solution on the shack in the back. Collect the water, when it rains, and feed it into these 300-liter water tanks that are above ground. Ultimately, I want to go below ground, huge water tanks, talking 2,000-3,000 liters. But I might implement something with these within the container posts or walls, because I'm using these concrete rings, which I'll explain in a bit. But this is really basic, just a local plastic rain gutter installed on the edge of the roof there, the shack in the back, the nursery, and and the little water filter there. It's good for washing hands and taking a shower, a country shower if I need to, or just basically cement mixing basic needs, or watering the plants in the nursery here in the back. These are high tensile, lightweight blocks. They have relatively high tensile strength compared to your standard cement blocks, but they're like a fraction of the weight. And so I was originally gonna maybe use those for propping up stuff, or maybe build some walls here for the nursery, the shack in the back, the front. But ultimately, I'll probably, with the land, I'm probably gonna go with. I was originally gonna build some walls, some proper cement walls, brick walls, but that's gonna take a lot of time and money. So I reckon I'll probably, as soon as I get some more time, coming few months, I'll probably just go with some 2-meter posts every 2 meters, and then barbed wire. It's really, right now all we have, there's cows that roam through the land. I don't really mind them eating the grass, grazing and shitting on my land, because it makes it fertile, but it's, people that I really want to send a message out that this is not your free land. Just do whatever, especially when I start having things on here, start building a house, and all my belongings and stuff when I'm not there, because people do get tempted to take stuff. But yeah, you can see the meter deep pool is probably it's probably halfway full at this point in time in February. You can see some aquatic species, some seaweed species there that local help, they really started getting enthusiastic and eager to start raising fish in it. And I say, oh well, let's see after a year. I'm not too eager, but there is a lot of little fish that they had put in there. Like I said, I don't really know if 1 meter deep, 70 meter wide is going to be sufficient to retain water in this particular plot of land for a 3 or 4 month stretch, and that's what I want to see this first year. And if it turns out that the water gets so low by the end of April, May, then I'll definitely make a decision to go deeper for the following year. So I mean, when the rainy season, it'll fill up quickly, but over the 2-3 month dry period, the water will just slowly evaporate, and it will seep through the ground, if I don't cement or plastic at the bottom of it. But yeah, basically I'm going to expand this. I've originally dug the moat around the entire perimeter of the land, and only about 30-40 centimeters deep, 50 centimeters in some spots. You can kind of see on the edge, the far edge of the land over there. But ultimately, yeah, I would like to make that deep and have it a permanent moat fixture year-round that has water year-round, that can sustain for, easily 4 or 5 months of dry season if need be. And yeah, ultimately getting this container gradually elevated up off the ground. Originally, was just gonna elevate it about a meter off the ground. Here's some posts that actually I bought because I want to extend like a little car park garage off the one side of the container. But once I have to get the container first elevated onto these cement rings, not the tires, those were just temporarily, but we bought these cement rings. Originally, I had paid the guy, said, okay, I want to get it up on some rings. He went and bought these crap-ass non-reinforced cement blocks, these planters. Oh, these will work. And I didn't tell him to do it, but he went and did that, obviously trying to take shortcuts or didn't have a vehicle to get proper concrete rings. And I came back and saw my land, and then I realized how weak these things were. Like, even, jacking up slowly, you can already see they're cracking. And I was like, nah, that's not going to cut it. We're not going to use these little planters that are not reinforced, really crappy cement. And you could already see before just a little bit of weight, they've cracked and crumbled. So I went and made sure we went back and got some proper cement rings, those ones you can see there that are going to be elevated. But those are a meter high, and to gradually jack up, we found out quickly that to jack up the container is difficult if you don't have a lot of these really strong blocks to rest the container on as you go corner by corner. And so a meter high was going to be pretty tough, we realized. So I made the decision that we're just going to dig out the corners, and we're going to bury these concrete rings about 50 centimeters, and so that way we only have to lift the container about 50 centimeters up. And what I'm going to do ultimately is, with these cement rings buried in the ground halfway, I'm going to pour some cement at the bottom of them to seal them off and make them waterproof. And at the top of the cement rings, before we place the container weight down on them, there's going to be this thick wood to disperse the weight, basically. And that will allow me to utilize the inside of these reinforced concrete rings with water, backup water storage, or even water for cooling the inside of the container. Just running some pipes into the container was one idea, but ultimately, I could do that all along the long edge of the container, and just because each of these containers have a capacity of anywhere from 80 to 100 liters of water, so why just have a empty container or put it with dirt? It's pretty strong by itself. These containers are reinforced steel, and so yeah, ultimately now, this was back in February, early March, and they're starting to jack. Here they're using like this winch pulley that they're trying to suspend the container, but yeah, the container with all the stuff is too much weight for this little winch pulley system, so that was a no-go. But anyway, you can see it in the clip. So ultimately, yeah. And those other posts I got there's 4 posts. I installed by myself 2 of them already, just temporarily, because I want to get it there so they can see what I'm doing. Because a lot of times, if I'm not there to guide and direct these guys to do what, they start having their own ideas and like the whole concrete planner, and sometimes they take shortcuts and let's do this. And sometimes you just have to say, no, this is what I want to do, and don't bother with it. So I installed these by myself, these 2 ones, and ultimately, when the container is leveled and elevated properly, I'm going to install 2 more there, and then we'll run a beam across the long edge, and then we'll have a car park. I can do a roof with solar panels and rain gutter on the one side, and I can park my van under there during the day, and maybe probably do a garage door or something, depending how serious I want to get. But yeah, I have to clear a lot of the bushes and trees there at the long edge before I can install the other 2 and make sure it's all level. But I need that container to be elevated and level properly before I start to modify and have this thing. And then ultimately, when I have that car parked there and the car can be parked there, I can leave my car there or my van there for extended periods out of the sun, and just have the the solar powers on top of that, solar panels on top of that, and start modifying the container. Add some ventilation fans, maybe a few windows, and of course make a second floor. I'll make a veranda on the top of the roof once it's secure up there, with some stairs from the inside, with a door on the top of the ceiling, and a lookout point for my land. And yeah, it'll be a nice workshop. But yeah, got to get these cement concrete rings into the ground first and elevated. But yeah, it's come a little bit way since this clip was taken. This was taken back in February, early March, and now the only thing left to do, I think that the holes are all properly dug out. About I'd say the holes are about 70, 80 centimeters now, 60 centimeters, and then Just got to place them into the holes now, and like I said, seal off the bottoms, and then place the big old wooden blocks on top of them to seal off the tops, and of course have some pipes installed there in case I wanted to access the water that'll be inside there for whatever purposes. And then start building a little deck, some stairs and stuff to access the container, and then make it a proper workshop. Currently it is a workshop now, but it's just storing all my stuff, mostly disorderly, and it gets hot during the day because obviously not any ventilation going on right now inside the metal steel container in the tropics. Yep, so that about wraps up this particular update from February and early March, and it's going to be a slow burn, but yeah, I've got ideas and plans of stuff I want to do here, and I would really like to collaborate and upscale, ultimately plant and fish production. Got to get the workshop properly ready so all my tools are ready, but I'm looking forward to it. Just got to find time and money, because that's really all you need for anything to be realized. And until next time, from the Tri-Cove City Trials here in Pre-Trip Curicon, I'm out.